Diving right in. Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is why I'm watching The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Ooh.
So diving right in. It's
all the way to the end. We're real sorry. We're going directly to the very last scene.
It's what we do. It was the most. I screamed. Yeah. I screamed. This is like the third time in a week, like in 7 days or like 10 days that I've been so excited. I
was that Leonardo DiCaprio meme from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood where it's like.
So we had it's Ao.
Yeah.
Florence Kasumba.
Yeah.
I was wondering when you were going to show up.
I love the Dora Milaje. I love Okoye.
Yeah.
But I'm so
You're
glad.
Like obsessed with.
I love Ao because she's the one we saw first.
Yeah. In Civil War.
Move, or you will be moved.
And then I knew Florence Kasumba because she was one of the Wicked Witches in something in an Oz thing.
Sure.
She she dominated Civil War.
She did.
It's like she
really
owned the movie Civil War with the one line "Move or you will be moved."
Yeah.
And her going toe to toe with Natasha.
Well, also all her clothes, all of the Wakanda clothes are great, but especially Okoye and her clothes, especially when they like go back to the UN or whatever at the end, and they're
Okoye, or
both of them, all of them when they're wearing, and there's always like metal on one side and cloth on the other. It's like so good.
And I love that she's always there, and I love that we're presumably going to flesh her out a little bit,
yeah,
because it's like that's what I want. I like all the hair on my arm stamp. That's what I want from these. So the only doll Hot Toys has made is Shuri. So
they didn't make even an Okoye?
Like you would ever hear the end of it.
That's true.
If I had an Okoye doll.
It would be amazing.
I've been waiting because the Dora Milaje uniform is so cool.
It is cool.
And I mean, I would get that in the heartbeat. If I was voting, I'd vote for that. But Hot Toys, I'm also willing to get her in the red dress with the staff. And she needs to have a removable wig.
I was going to say, the wig has to be part of it.
But she has to be able to take it off. Yeah. I like the Bucky and Shuri thing. I'm not like a hard shipper for a lot of stuff. I don't not ship it.
I friendship it.
Oh, this is kind of a sexy little.
I don't want them to kiss though. Yeah.
Like I said, I don't not. But so
he's like 80 years too old for her.
Well, that's the kind of thing where people be like, because we don't know. I mean, let's go with a solid 20, that she's like 20. And it's like, he's too old for her. And at a certain point, it's like,
yeah.
I mean, if he's like 20 years older than her, then it's no go. But if he's like 120 years ago, it's like,
whatever.
What does it mean? What does anything matter?
We built a multi-million-dollar franchise on that with vampires.
We're getting canceled like 4 ways over as this is happening. So
we have a very loyal group of people who I think will listen to us almost forever.
Pseudo ship. So we opened up with a Viridian Dynamics commercial.
Viridian Dynamics. Diversity. Just the thought of it makes these white people smile.
We really did. We really did.
Watch Better Off Ted. Stop now. Stop watching us.
Yeah.
Go to Hulu. I think it's on Hulu.
I think it's still there.
It has been there. It's 2 perfect seasons.
Yep.
Better Off Ted. It's the dude. What's his name? Jake something?
I don't
He looks
remember.
like a Jake.
Ted Crisp. That's his
Jake Chris. And Portia de Rossi and
Andrea Anders.
It's like an office. It's like an office sitcom, and the corporation is called Viridian Dynamics, and they are beyond corrupt, and it is so funny.
But it's like in a fun way.
Mm-hmm. Portia is a magician's assistant on
only on her off time.
Yeah, it's what she does to relax.
Yeah.
So, anyways, okay. So we open up with the GRC. I did not write down what that meant even yet.
Oh,
Global.
It's like relocation
Center.
Something. Yeah.
GRC, the Global Repatriation Council.
We're really sorry. It's the thing that's helping people after the blip.
And
like readjust to life after the blip.
And that commercial really set it really set the tone for the ineptitude of this organization. Yeah. It felt soulless. It felt just hollow. So, okay. I'm also a fucking idiot because I haven't said this yet, which is the one thing that's prevented me from being a full-fledged idiot. But I'm like, it's so weird that we're doing this like super soldier thing because we already did this like once before. And in the same thought process, I'm like, oh, hey, Zemo, he's like a villain we've dealt with before. That's cool. And it's like, I just hadn't put together that that's why all of these pieces are aligning, is because it is kind of a continuation of what has already been put into motion. So Carly
Morgenthau.
Carly Morningstar.
She's great. We got a little bit more from her. I think she's fine.
They're not doing anything for me. Nothing against the actors, nothing against the writers, but I glaze over when they're on screen.
It's not doing enough to make me like love them or care that much, because I only care. All I want is the mental health development of Bucky Barnes. That's what I'm in this show for. And I want character development for Sam. And we're getting it. I'm thrilled. I need to listen to Trouble Man. I have not listened to it. And him and Zemo made a very good case for it in this episode.
You didn't like it?
I liked it.
It is a masterpiece, James. Complete, comprehensive. It captures the African American experience.
He's out of line. But he's right.
Who would have thought the whole time we thought we needed Sharon Carter, and it was Daniel Bruhl, it was Zemo that we've needed all
because
along.
If I'm being honest, this was not my favorite flavor of Sharon Carter. She was very fish and chips on her shoulder.
Uh-oh. She's kind of awful now.
Yeah.
I get it. She got burned by the American government. I understand. It sucks, but she also just was like, it's all bullshit. And I was like, eh.
See, I need to watch Civil War again, clearly.
I probably do.
Because
too.
I forgot. I remember at the end of Winter Soldier, she was at a gun range.
Yeah.
And somewhere between, but Civil War's after that. And so she fought, because her and Black Widow fought Winter Soldier. Yeah. Like the two of them together. And they put up a decent fight for two non-super women.
So that's the thing for me. Also, I wanted to call out, I listened to the Pop Culture Happy Hour talk about the first 2 episodes of this show. And they also were very up in arms about why Pepper is not providing a pension to any of these people. Running a multi-billion-dollar multinational corporation.
Well, I feel like we're blaming Pepper Potts when we should be blaming the writers of the show.
Well, sure.
I am a Pepper Potts stan.
No, of course. I'm not like actually blaming Pepper, but
people don't like Gwyneth Paltrow, so somehow this is going to be
I just feel like that should be something that's being done.
Be addressed.
But regardless of that, I feel like Sharon was like friends with enough Avengers that they should have done something about her being burned by the American government.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel totally right. And so now we've got this really surly Sharon Carter on our hands.
You phrased it there. I don't have problems with it. It just doesn't feel totally right.
Sure. Yeah.
To imagine that, by all accounts, this stand-up, she was a SHIELD agent, so it's not like she was like a cop or something. She might as well have been.
Yeah.
This cop is just full-fledged pirate, just full-blown, moved to the Southeast Asian Sea,
and she's dealing stolen art.
I kind of love that. I don't know. We'll see. I didn't love it. It was great seeing Emily. Emily is beautiful. One of the great noses.
She does have an excellent nose. And unlike Blake Lively, she kept it. I think it works in her favor. I think it makes her more charming. I think if she had gotten her nose done, it would be like when Jennifer Grey got her nose done.
So Carly Morningstar.
I'm 90% sure it's Morgenthau.
Morgenthau.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure I'm wrong. Apologies.
So Carly, where did she get the Super Soldier Serum from?
From that guy, Dr. Nagel, that was in the shipping container. She stole it from him.
Doing his best Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor.
He wasn't so over the top as that, but sure, I'll allow
So that guy was making counterfeit serums, and he made the one that we think Isaiah has?
No, he used Isaiah's blood to do it. He was part of the testing on Isaiah.
I'm glad that we're touching these things.
Yeah.
But this is, what is it? The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. There's they hit it home.
Yeah.
Hit it home. Don't just trade in it.
Let's not just make the comments about it. Let's make this mean something for sure. I'm definitely in a place where I'm like, you're really treading on some fraught ground. If you don't make this mean something, it's going to be worse.
And they're not boffing it.
No, they're not boffing it.
My concern is we've got 3 more 50-minute episodes. And I'm like, maybe 6 was not enough. Like maybe this needed a proper 8 or 10.
8, yeah. 8. I think they all should have been 40 episodes.
Especially if 10 is plenty.
No.
But it's like, because the 6 episodes for Sam and Bucky felt good, but it's like, now that we're bringing in the Dora Milaje, I'm like, we're going to need more time.
Yeah,
we're going to need more time with this.
It's like, even when I knew that Zemo and Sharon Carter were going to be in it, I even still was like, 6 doesn't quite feel like enough. Like those 4 characters their relationships with each other are like very interesting and intertwined and fraught. And then like, Sam and Zemo never had like a ton to do with each other, but that could be a really interesting dynamic. I don't know. I just like.
Well, and that was my overall complaint with WandaVision, was that we but scratched the surface.
Yeah.
In a way that episodic long form television is about deep dives.
Yeah.
And so dive deep.
Yeah.
Not a problem, but notable.
It's okay. For me, the reason that it is kind of a problem is that it's like, I'm, like 98% sure we're not getting more seasons of these shows. If we were going,
this one we would get more of before.
That's
WandaVision.
true. And so that's the thing where it's like, I'm sort of in a place where it's like, if we're going to get more seasons of these shows, like in between phases or something, then I'm fine with the scratching the surface. But that also could be like, we could get another season of this in 5 years. And that's where it's like, well, what's the point then?
We're in a real BBC.
Yeah.
Like,
and I don't want to relegate Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan to like the TV verse of the MCU. They should be in the movies. But at the same time, I'm like, unless they make a Bucky Barnes movie or a Falcon and Winter Soldier movie, I don't think we're going to continue getting this.
Which, I mean, it could
to this degree.
It could be possible, because an update on WandaVision is now Wanda is like the single most popular female Avenger right now. And somehow,
love to see it.
But somehow, as always, Disney was caught with their fucking pants down. And they were like, huh? And so there's no Wanda merch. It's like they're trying to churn out dolls that aren't going to be released for 2 more weeks.
Yeah.
And it's like, because I went to Disney Springs with my mom 2 weeks ago, and there was one Vision t-shirt. There wasn't a single piece of Wanda merch. And I'm like,
feels like a real missed opportunity. You guys.
Give with one hand, take with the other. So I'm still trying to get to what the actual central plot is that Carly Morgenthau and her boyfriend, they are super. And what is their end goal? What are they trying?
They basically want to, I don't know if they necessarily want to re-blip everybody, but they are angry about the people that came back, because then they got displaced from there. And so now they're like in like poverty stricken, essentially. So
refugees, man, the show is commenting left and right. Mm-hmm. Holy moly. Because they were talking about pneumonia.
Her like mentor, Danya Madani, she had tuberculosis. And it was because it was running rampant in the camps and stuff. Mm-hmm. I get it. And I find it fascinating. And I want to be wowed by them exploring it. But it's kind of like, I think we touched on this last time. I was like, it's the 5 years of it that's so much. Because if it was 5 months. Because that's where I was like, get over it. They were like, and then I was like, no, but 5 years is a long time.
But it's like someone, you lost your mother, 7 years ago. Yeah. Imagine if she just was suddenly back. And it's like, you're a bad example, because you would just be like, oh, cool.
I'd be stoked, but I would also be like, what?
It just to have gone through the process and then have it all back. And furthermore, it's like, so what are they proposing? We execute half the planet? Like,
I don't know if it's necessarily that. I feel like they kind of do want to undo the undo of the blip, but I don't know how they would accomplish that, because all of the stones are,
and maybe that's what the show is supposed to be about, because I'm really not plugged into the actual plot of the show as I am watching characters that I like. Like Daniel Bruhl dance in a nightclub in a pirate city.
it's one of the like sort of writer's shortcuts that I love, where he just like still is rich because he's a baron apparently, and so they're just like private jetting across the world. And I was like, look, whatever saves you time
with his manservant Woodhouse.
Yeah, literally whatever saves you time. At least there was an explanation for it, as opposed to Game of Thrones, where they were just teleporting across Westeros by the end.
No, but I buy that because like the weird European like hierarchies of the.
If he is a baron and his family has been landed gentry from way back, he would have a lot of accumulated wealth. Yeah.
I mean, even if it's just buried in a hole.
I'm not saying it's shenanigans. I'm just saying I love that was the writers were like, yeah.
His jacket was so good.
Fur, yeah.
Speaking of fucking jackets, whatever, Snake Tom or whatever.
Anthony Mackie. Yeah. No, Smiling Tiger or
Smiling
something.
Tiger. Whatever. I was so into that suit. And he was so funny with the poor R.I.P. Snake.
The snake shot.
Mm-hmm.
I love these.
Cheers, comrade.
I maintain Bucky filed that away in his brain for later amusement.
But no, we're getting such necessary character building for Sam.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, Bucky's had this amazing Wakandan arm that, I mean, he used in Endgame in the sense that everybody was fighting with everything they had.
Yeah.
But there was a slight action scene where he was like, ka-choom, choom, choom,
yeah.
And it's this arm, but regardless. Yeah. And it was just like, it was so cool.
It's very
and
cool.
It sounds cool and it's pretty. And these properties, the MCU gets shit on for their lackluster score. And the scoring is hardly electric.
Yeah.
However, it's there because Sam has song.
Yeah.
Bucky, we got the Winter Soldier music. They were playing it during that fight scene. Like, we are getting the kind of.
Also, I sort of love it all the way to my bones that the score of the show, that like the main theme of the show that plays over the end credits sounds like a 90s procedural. I love it so much. It makes me indescribably happy every time the credits music starts playing. It's so fun.
I did want to say that we got Madripoor, which I understand is something from the comics. It's like a city state,
like a pirate
they called
city.
it. Yeah.
It's sort of like Tortuga.
It sounded awesome. The way they pitched it was like it's been independent since like the 1800s because pirates were there and it's just stayed that way.
And they've just kept the lawlessness.
And it was just like a free for all. It was really cool.
And they won't extradite, which is why Sharon is there.
I'm into it. And that's the kind of stuff I want these shows for, and I want more of.
I do love Bucky and Sam and Zemo were interrogating that doctor inside that shipping container. Meanwhile, outside, Sharon is taking down every bounty hunter on Madripoor single-handedly with their own weapons for the most part. It was magical. I loved it.
So she parted ways with them.
Yeah.
Who was the woman she went to go talk to? Are we not supposed to know?
I didn't see her face. Did you see her face? I must have been looking down. I didn't see her face. I don't know.
The woman like picked her up.
Yeah.
It almost was like Sharon was like gonna betray them or something, which I don't believe Sharon would betray them. I could believe we're in the middle of a
double cross kind of,
or like a triple.
Yeah.
Like she's pretending to betray them in order to, that I'm not sure.
Could be. And then they wound up in like Latvia at the end.
Yeah. Why were they there?
I think it was like their next step to find.
I only got to see this the one time. I usually watch it twice.
It was their next step to find Carly, I think, as they were going to this other place.
And that's where Bucky.
Yeah, they walk up to this building. I think it was like my favorite thing. He's
so conspicuous.
His character, I love his character. He presumably sees something on the ground and he's like, I'm gonna take a walk, you guys. And they're like, are you all right? Like Sam is like, are you okay? And he's like, yep. And at first I was like, oh, does he have like a friend in the city or something? And no, he picks up this ball from the ground.
It was like,
the
beads.
Yeah, her bracelet.
Yeah, was it not? I think it was like how they have like the beads.
Yeah, I bet it was. That didn't even occur to me. But then he like follows a trail of them. And it's like one of those really cool things where he's like turning around and looking and he turns back around. He's like, I was wondering how long it was going to take, blah, blah, blah. I fucking love it. It's so good. Okay, here's my thing about Bucky. He is like,
Here is your thing about Bucky. We're gonna address
another one of my things about Bucky. He is like, and I know that this sounds counterintuitive, and I tweeted it also. I mean this so sincerely. He is like a stable agent of chaos because he's obviously got brain stuff going on, like, you know, like mental health stuff going on, but he is so calm when he's like when he's explaining to Sam at the beginning where he's like, let me throw you a hypothetical. And then he explains exactly how he broke Zemo out of Supermax prison.
It took me Zemo walking in to realize that was not a hypothetical.
But he just is like, he's so calm and centered about the decision to break Zemo out of Supermax International Prison. But then he is at the same time doing the chaotic thing of breaking Zemo out of prison. And I just love the juxtaposition in his character of that.
And I think one of the things that's so fun about it and so interesting about it is it has, in my opinion, genuinely been there since the first Captain America movie.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You always, because before Steve was the hot shot, you really got that Bucky was.
Yeah.
Bucky was the hot shot. And Steve was like the little buddy. Mm-hmm. And that was a part of their relationship. And there's a lot of talk in this show about a goddamn shield. And I think they're projecting.
Oh, yeah.
I think that this is about Steve.
Yeah.
And their relationships with each other. And I'm waiting for that. I want both of them crying.
Yeah, no, same.
I want both of them crying.
Just weeping.
Fighting for breath.
While they hold hands.
I understand that Disney's Marvel Cinematic Universe was never, would never do the Steve and Bucky thing, all of that.
Even though they were extremely in love with each other.
There's no other way to watch Civil War. There's no other way.
No. Even the Winter Soldier, there's no other way to watch it.
I know they were never going to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm not fighting that fight. What I am going to complain about is how aggressively I'll even use the term retcon, how aggressively they no-homoed Infinity War and Endgame. And Steve threw Bucky and to a lesser extent Sam, he threw them in the trash.
Yeah.
He pieced the fuck out and left them with nothing.
And he was like, it's Peggy all the way. And
I think it's borderline character breaking. I just accept it because I don't have another option. Yeah. And apparently because I didn't watch Agent Carter, but if you watch Agent Carter, she made her peace.
She moved on.
Agent Carter. She was like, so, I mean, for her, it's like we understand Steve's longing for this relationship, but for her, it's a guy that she almost dated.
That's the thing, is like they never even actually went on a date.
So it really, the more that I think about it, the more it kind of chaps my ass, and I am just choosing to let it go.
They do also keep claiming that like there's Easter eggs for Bucky's bisexuality, and I was like, okay, but make him kiss a boy.
They're not going to do that. And that's just not a fight I have with me.
No, I know.
Like that would be like me fighting this wall. It's not gonna it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Because we still don't know if Steve is alive.
But he's elderly.
Sure. Yeah. But I mean, I'm saying I think that's interesting. And I anticipate, I'm not going to bet on it, but I anticipate an answer.
Yeah.
I have a hope, a hunch, a feeling, a desire that by episode 6 that there is a base on the moon that Fury is
Nick.
Yeah, that Nick Fury and Maria Hill standing right next to him, and Steve may or may not be there. They planted that seed in the first episode that Steve is in a base on the moon, and that just felt like feels like
maybe
Chekhov's moon base. I just but no, I want them to address the super soldier in the room.
Yeah.
And I fucking love John Walker. I think he's such a good character. I know he's a bad guy. I'm fine with that. And we finally got it. We finally.
He's definitely a good character, like an interesting character, but he is a
he's giving me Daniel Bruhl from Inglourious Bastards.
Oh, okay.
He seems so nice at first, but no, I'm there. And
he just wants to sit with her in the cafe.
Mm-hmm. And then Leonard Lamar. I really Lamar is keying in.
Is he clocking in?
He's clocking that something's not on. You and Will think that John is super.
Yeah.
Okay, so does he know he's super?
I don't know. Maybe not. But he was
the way he was throwing that.
The way he was throwing the shield around, he's got to be enhanced somehow. There's no way that he's just like a former high school quarterback who made good or whatever. No.
No, I like him. I think he's a good character. I am intrigued. I really hope that we land this ship or let it be continuing, leave it wide open, but fucking continue it. And by that, I mean March of next year.
Yeah.
At the latest.
I was going to say July at the latest. July of next year at the latest.
So I'm kind of loving it.
Yeah. The addition of Zemo was really something.
It was so good. He really, he was a nice wild card that the two of them needed. He was a mixer.
That's the thing is I was like, I think he brought out really good parts of really interesting parts of both their characters. And even though I don't love surly Sharon, having Sharon there was also like a nice thing. It felt good to see her again.
Especially if she'll soften, if we can get her.
And then Ayo at the end was like, that was the cherry on top.
I want to go watch. She didn't even speak. And I want to go watch it again. It was so
good. So good.
The Dora Milaje, and they did the whatever. I'm not going to try and mimic it. So give us a nice slow-mo with maybe some smooth jazz of Anthony Mackie's tits out.
Oh yeah,
just full-fledged. The color, the
lighting, the color. He was like in front of a rack of clothes, and
trying on clothes. I love that Marvel will give us a hunk. They'll give us a guy changing his shirt. Aaron Taylor Johnson, Chris Hemsworth,
Chris Evans,
Chris Pratt,
even it's been for a long time.
Pepper Potts pulling goop out of Robert Downey Jr.'s naked.
Well, I was gonna say RDJ did no shirt a lot at the beginning.
No, he didn't.
A couple times he did. Yeah.
Agree to disagree.
Well. Regardless.
So yeah, that was us. That was a reaction. Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed this week's specific reaction to episode 3 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh, it was called Power Broker. Yeah. That was the episode title. My bad. Bye. That was a horrible smile.
Goodbye. Oh.